It's like Christmas came early, seriously. Now I was excited a few weeks ago when we did the voting of the Thompson Morgan wish list, but actually having some things arrive in the post, this is the best. So if you didn't see that video, definitely go give it a go, have a watch, because what I did was I offered you the chance to help me pick out what I'm going to grow next year, or some of the things I'm going to grow. And what happened was that Thompson Morgan, a British seed company, got in touch and asked me if I wanted to make a wish list of anything from their seed catalog, plants and seeds, that I'd like to grow for next year. What an incredible opportunity, right? So I made a list of some of the things I was interested in, and then I gave you the choices of 7 things. So there was an A and a B kind of option. So 2 options, 7 kind of categories, and I tallied up all of the votes. I sent in what you guys chose for me, and these 2 items have just arrived. Now, I did get a message from Thompson Morgan that some of the items on the list, they're not yet ready for dispatch. So I'll be expecting some of the items early next year, and I will of course show you what those are when they arrive. Well, you'll know already because I'm going to tell you in this video, but you'll see them arrive, and in some cases I'll maybe get those planted right away. So are you ready to see what's inside the envelope and the box? Because I sure am. Oh, much better. My fingers are starting to thaw out. It's pretty cold. Not as cold as some of you are having to contend with at the moment. We don't have any snow or frost, but we do have cold and damp and plenty of wind. Stay there. Now, just to refresh your memory and mine, I'm going to go through the different options that I gave. So there were 7 categories, 2 choices each. The first category was fruit for the patio. So here at the new house, the little patio area, it doesn't really have anything edible growing on it yet, and I want to change that for next year. And I want to put in some perennial fruits just there along the wall. And I gave you the choices of the Patio Fruit Tree Collection or the Raspberry Full Season Collection. Now we'll get to all of the answers after we go through this, so hang on. The second category was second early potatoes, and there were 2, and I was indecisive about pretty much everything that I presented to you. So do I pick one or the other? Should I be cheeky and ask for both? So for the second early potatoes, there was British Queen, which is a really well-known variety that I've not yet grown yet, and it's supposed to be very good, very tasty. And then Apache, which are the 2-colored potatoes that just look so cool and would be so easy to spot when you're digging them up, which is important as well, because leaving potatoes in the ground means you might have some volunteers next year. The third category was tomatoes, and I gave the option of Sungold, which is a really sweet yellow cherry type that I've always wanted to grow and everyone raves about. And then the second one was Black Russian, and that was also something that looked really intriguing, and I'll be growing the tomatoes here in the greenhouse next year, and I want to have a few different varieties. The fourth category is summer squash, and I presented the Courgette Sure Thing, which does not require insect pollination to set fruit, so that's very unusual, and makes it a sure thing, haha. I see what you did there, Thompson Morgan. And then there is the squash grillers mix, and that was also something that looked very unique as well. The fifth category was brassicas, and I'm a big fan of purple sprouting broccoli. You'll have seen it before in some of my YouTube videos and also over on my blog, lovelygreens.com. And so there was, and I need some seeds, basically, some new fresh seeds. And so the all season sprouting broccoli collection, it contained seeds that would basically give sprouting broccoli throughout the winter months. And then the second selection for that was the Brussels sprouts Kalettes. So instead of firm little rosettes going up the stem of the Brussels sprouts, they actually form kind of, they look like mini cabbages, but not tight cabbages, if you know what I mean. Or maybe lettuces, and they are basically, it's a cross between kale and Brussels sprouts. And I've had them, I've purchased them from the farmer's market, never grown them, so that was something that was quite interesting. Now the next category is pollinator friendly flowers. And there's the Nasturtium Orchid Flame. And I actually spoke to Thompson Morgan about this particular flower last year when I met them in person at an event. Insects love it, and also it is appealing visually because the flowers change color over time. So yellow and oranges and reds, so they don't stay just one color when they bloom. So that's quite fascinating. The second selection for the pollinator friendly flowers is Geranium Reflections. And bees absolutely adore geraniums, so the native geranium type. And I used to have one at the old house. I definitely plan on adding geraniums here as well. They're not the type that you're thinking of, maybe, so not the window box geraniums, but a more kind of native species. I'll put a picture up so that you can understand. And then the last category was container fruit. And Thompson and Morgan have these dwarf soft fruit bushes that are really intriguing. They're perfect for people that have really small spaces or patios or balconies and would like to maybe have a hand at growing blackberries or raspberries or other types of fruits. And so I gave you the choice of raspberry yummy and blackberry black cascade. Now the raspberry, they only grow about yay high. And the blackberry cascade, it's in a hanging basket in the photos and it just spills over. It's perfect for small spaces. And then referring back to the patio fruit tree collection, those little trees in that, they only get about a meter tall as well. So fantastic selections for people with small spaces. In any case, that's everything. I think it's time to open up the envelope, which I suspect is filled with seeds, and see what exactly I got sent so far. All right, so we have some seeds in here. So first of all, I have them upside down. I'll show it to you first before I look. Okay. Yes, Sungold. I've always wanted to grow Sungold. And I love cherry tomatoes. Very excited about that. I can see from the back. So I was cheeky. I asked for both of them in this case. It was a very close tie between both of them. It started off that people were voting for Sungold, and then more and more and more people were voting for Black Russian. And then at the end I was like, I should just ask for both. So next year you'll see these two tomatoes here in the greenhouse. Kalettes! So it's so much easier to show you what they look like with a photo. So each one of those little kind of, they look like mini cabbages or mini kale plants. Those grow up the stem of the Brussels sprouts plant, and then you can cut them off as you would a Brussels sprout, and then either saute them or roast them. I've had them roasted and they're very crispy and delicious. Oh, I'm really excited to grow that. I love growing new and interesting veg. Sometimes I only grow it once. Sometimes I hit a winner and I continue to grow it. It's the courgette sure thing! Fantastic! Fantastic. So if you are in an area that maybe you haven't noticed very many bees about, because squash, they rely almost exclusively on bee pollination to set fruit. And if you're concerned about that, something like this might be a good option. And I mean, courgettes produce a lot already, so I'm very curious to see what the glut on this is gonna be like next year. My neighbors will know. Yes! It's the Nasturtium Orchid Flame. It's not a colorful package. The flowers on the back don't represent the flower, but that's gonna look interesting on the patio. So I've decided that's where the nasturtiums would go if they arrived, is also along the patio. And there's also Raspberry Yummy coming. That's fantastic. And then the Patio fruit tree collection. I think that you all had a feeling that that was going to be the one that was chosen because I was a fan. Almost everyone else voted for that. If you just scroll down all of the comments on that video, almost everyone voted for that. So that's really exciting. And that's it for the votes. But you're probably wondering what's in the box, because aside from everything that was in the video, there was something else that I asked Thompson Morgan for. Now, if you watch my videos last year on the strawberry patch, you'll know that I actually grew 2 types of strawberries from Thompson Morgan last year. And they were the Mara des Bois strawberries, which were delicious and everything that they had been touted to be. Now, the second type of strawberry that I grew from Thompson Morgan last year is this one, and it has pink flowers, and I think I've snipped them all off now. But this is a type called Just Add Cream, and it has beautiful pink flowers. Absolutely love it. And the fruit are really sweet and delicious too. It's not a big producer. I'd put it more kind of as an alpine strawberry in a way, just because it isn't a heavy cropper. But I have a video showing how I plant this guy up, because it is actually very particular how you should plant up a strawberry pot. And then also how I planted those bare root strawberries last year, and that will come in handy for if you order any new strawberries this year. So I guess you can kind of figure out what might be in that box, and let's just see if I'm right. Yes, we've got some strawberries, quite a few. Now, you'll know that I removed 2 rows of strawberries from my strawberry bed just recently, and I've been looking for a new variety or varieties to grow in the center, something that is going to produce a lot more berries than the Mara des Bois or the Just Add Cream that I have already. I also grow pine berries, and that's a white type of strawberry, which are delicious, but I wanted a red type because I want to make a lot more strawberry jam next year. Now this is a type, I'm going to take it out and have a closer look at the plants. This is a type called Malling Centenary. I'm probably mispronouncing that totally wrong because I've got a way of just calling things how I want them. But these guys, they've come as plants, and you can get strawberries delivered to you as plants or as bare root, and sometimes also as seeds as well. I've grown some alpine strawberries from seeds not too long ago. And these guys, they're not really that dormant just yet. They still have green leaves on them. I'll keep them here in the greenhouse to overwinter, and then next year I will plant them out in the allotment garden when it starts to warm up. So that's it for today as far as what has arrived. Now, the reason that the Patio fruit tree collection and the potatoes and the Raspberry Yummy haven't arrived today is because they're just not ready yet. So they still need to be prepared and dug up, and they'll arrive probably about February, March next year. And it's the same with potatoes as well. You don't get them until then either. They generally ship potatoes to you shortly before planting time, and that's the great thing about seed companies, is that they they tend not to send you things that you can't plant right away. So you can kind of count on that, especially for your region. So for example, the roses that I planted just recently, they arrived right when I needed to get them in the ground. Yeah, other people have told me that they ordered the exact same Generous Gardener rose from that rose producer, and they have to wait until March to plant their roses out. So next year, the rest of the wish list will arrive, and it's going to be so exciting to put them in the ground and see them produce food next year. Thank you so much, Thompson and Morgan, for sending me all of these seeds and the plants, and thank you guys for voting and for helping me to decide what delicious, incredible edibles we're gonna have here in the home garden and the allotment next year. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of everything as a comment below, and I'll see you next week for the next Lovely Greens video. Bye for now.